This week in real Pirateball.
What's up, Pirates fans? Greg Mercer here with week number 10 of This Week in Real Pirateball. Let's go ahead and get into it right now. Shocking news came out on Thursday morning revealing a serious injury to pitcher Charlie Morton.
Don't you know you're gonna shock the market? Hey, hey, shock the market. Hey, 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 hey.
After battling elbow inflammation for a few weeks, Morton felt more discomfort and scheduled an appointment with famed arm butcher Dr. James Andrews. It was determined that he had more damage than previously thought, and according to GM Neil Huntington, Andrews fit in a Tommy John ligament replacement surgery for Morton the next morning.
I can't do this anymore, man. My head's about to explode. My whole life sucks. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going.
Seriously, who the heck fits in a Tommy John surgery? He probably told Morton, "Oh yeah, you'll be out for a year and a half, but I'll take care of this real quick and then head out for my golf outing later." I feel bad for assuming that the Pirates were covering up his poor play with an injury, but now that we know the root of his problems, I can't imagine the Pirates will be keeping the highly inconsistent and seemingly eccentric Morton in their long-term plans. After the Morton story broke almost immediately, 93.7 FM reported that noted sideline reporter extraordinary Lacee Collins had been relievered of her duties by Root Sports. Lacee was often berated for inability to put together grammatically correct sentences. She was also quite good at asking repeated how a player felt about anything.
How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel?
It sucks for anyone to lose their job, but in a highly profile competitory job such as sideline reporter, you want a hot babe that can get her thinking across in a coherent manner. Here's a farewell ode to someone whose many are grateful to never have to hear again.
I can't explain why you've no brain. Lacee, were you ever taught to speak? Stumbles and dread along the sideline. Gay Root Sports emotions just wave bye-bye. Please don't mention a face with cream pies. She told Buck Nation about some chili cheese fries. Lips that don't function in Rotundra 2. Henry throws in the pan. How are you feeling again? I can't explain why you've no brain. Lacee, were you ever taught to speak? Stumbles and dread along the sideline. A Root Sports emotion just wave bye-bye.
Kevin Correa's last few outings have been, well, let's just say not good. He's compiled a 5.4 ERA in his last 8 starts and has allowed 11 home runs in that span. Correa is trying to get by with mediocre pitch-to-contact type stuff. The problem is that his control isn't very good. His walk-to-strikeout ratio is nearly even this year. He's also gotten pretty lucky in escaping jams that he gets into, which has masked his poor pitching to this point. His batting average of balls in play is .252. The mean average BABIP is always around 300, which means batters have been fairly unlucky against Correa to this point. Another interesting stat is his TERA, a sabermetric stat which attempts to determine the true ERA of a pitcher based on the expected outcome of a ball in play. Correa's TERA is 5.75, a full 1.3 runs above his current ERA. Basically, lots of balls that should be hits are somehow turning into outs. Sooner or later, this is gonna catch up to Correa. Let's, as always, try to salvage some positives this week. On the whole this season, Neil Walker has been flying under the radar, but as of late, he's starting to produce. Since the beginning of June, he's hitting .316 with an .830 OPS. In theory, he's seeing better pitches by now hitting in the 2-hole since teams don't want to deal with Andrew McCutchen. When most of your team is hitting below 250, it makes sense to get all your decent hitters as close to the top of the order as possible. Walker should continue to be a steady contributor with around a 270 to 280 average with a little bit of power. The problem is that the team needs about 6 other guys that can give the same production if the Pirates plan on improving their offensive numbers. 2011 first overall draft pick Garrett Cole was promoted to AA Altoona on Thursday.
Unforgettable.
Cole had a 2.55 ERA and 1.1 WHIP and was striking out over a batter an inning at Single-A, West Virginia. It was about time for him to be moved up to face better competition. Other than Pedro Alvarez, the Pirates have recently been extremely slow in moving up their higher-profile players up the system. Trevor Bauer, the 3rd overall pick last year, is already at AAA for the D-backs and is dominating the level. Cole definitely has the stuff to challenge players at the higher levels and should be tested accordingly. Honestly, I'd rather have Cole moving up as quickly as possible. The less times that he spends in different levels, the less times he has the chance to get messed up. Too many cooks can spoil the broth, and you wonder sometimes if Pirates prospects have been mentally strained by getting too many pointers. If a guy is doing well, just leave him alone. With injuries and general suckitude of part of the pitching staff slowly rearing its head, fans are starting to wonder when AAA pitchers Jeff Locke and Rudy Owens will get a shot with the Bucks. In 12 starts in AAA, Locke has compiled a 3.71 ERA with an excellent 8.0 K per 9 innings ratio. Owens has even better stats. His 2.29 ERA and 0.98 WHIP are even better numbers than James McDonald has so far. These guys still profile to be number 4 or 5 starters. However, you won't know until you try them. Brad Lincoln has been tried several times in several different years, and it's apparent that his role is in the bullpen. I don't see any harm in seeing what you have with your fringe arms. Who knows, maybe it'll be worth the gamble to bring in some fresh faces to steal a few games. The Pirates traveled to Baltimore for a series with the Orioles and were summarily swept out of town. Let's look at the lowlights through the use of the Greg Mercer Pirates machine. On Tuesday, the Bucks lost 8-6. The closest game in the series really wasn't that close as the O's jumped out to an 8-2 lead midway through the game. Casey McGee and Neil Walker hit home runs to keep the team close, but closer Jim Johnson for the Orioles shut the door. Jake Arrieta stole the show in Wednesday's 7-1 loss. Arrieta, who had a 6.32 ERA on the year, fanned 9 different Pirates and looked pretty comfortable doing it. On Thursday, the Orioles curb stomped the Bucks 12-6. At one point, the score was 10-0 after Eric Bedard was pounded in a short outing. Rob Barajas hit a 3-run homer, but it wasn't nearly enough to combat the Powerball offense of the Orioles. The ubiquitous geographical interleague series between the Pirates and the Indians took place this weekend. The Bucks lost 2-0 on Friday. James McDonald was the victim of poor run support as his 6-inning, 3-hit, 1-earned-run outing was wasted. The team struck out 10 times and was showing poor plate discipline in almost every scoring opportunity. Saturday was a different story as the team broke the losing streak in a 9-2 rout. A.J. Burnett won his 6th straight game to improve to 7-2, and Pedro Alvarez went deep twice. The Pirates had a case of deja vu as they once again plated 9 runs against the Indians on Sunday and won 9-5. Thanks to 2 different errors made by Indians shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera, Pedro Alvarez had the opportunity to blast 2 3-run homers in the game, his 11th and 12th on the year. The 6 RBI for Alvarez was a career high. It was a fairly predictable outcome this week as the Pirates once again had an under 500 week of interleague road games. The team still remains over the 500 mark for another week as the remainder of the 2012 interleague schedule is set for next week. They should be able to sustain their over 500 record as they have 6 games in Pittsburgh, 3 against the bad Minnesota Twins team and 3 against the underachieving Detroit Tigers. Well, that does it for another week of TWIRP. The show won't be seen next week as I'm taking another trip to New York City over the weekend. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another edition of This Week in Real Pirateball. I'm Greg Mercer. Later.
Ball.